Hey friends, this week I am bringing back one of my fall favorite videos from last year. It is a beautiful autumn themed busted canvas, my first time trying that project, and it's got all the warm, cozy autumn vibes. So whether you missed it the first time or you just need some new inspiration, I hope you enjoy. This is kind of a lengthy video with a lot of I don't know what I'm doing here kind of vibes to it too. So I hope it gives you a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of confidence to figure out how to try something that may seem difficult and daunting. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye. Hi, Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts here. Happy Friday. I'm gonna do a busted canvas today. So there's a lot of moving pieces for this project, so bear with me. We're going to be doing some things, setting some stuff aside so it dries, doing other pieces, going back to the first part. So we're going to use this canvas. This was something, I can barely see what's underneath the paint. Something I bought probably at an antique mall or something like that that I painted white. Like I said, I was going to do a holiday thing with it last year, or winter thing with it last year, and didn't do it. So we're going to use that. And I have a little bit of fabric that we're going to use. We're going to use this chalkable shape pumpkin, Chalk Couture from Chalk Couture, and the transfer that goes with it. Really bad glare on this camera. It's the one thing I don't like about this camera location, but when I angle down, it should be a little better. This was a freebie last month. It's a little bundle with the shape and the pumpkin. We're going to use the Hello Pumpkin piece of this transfer. This is Autumn Sayings. This is a 2021 transfer that I probably got. I would say probably came out of retirement last fall for a brief period, and I got it because I haven't been a designer that long or a customer that long. And then this is Autumn Leaves. This is from last year. I will have to look and see if this one is still available. And then this is, I think it's called Woodsy Pine. Yeah, Woodsy Pine pattern. This came out, went away, and came back. I will also have to check and see if those are still available. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to chalk this Woodsy Pine pattern on the front of my canvas. I didn't fuzz very much. I wasn't getting a lot of resistance on this when I pulled it up off the fuzzing cloth. And I'm also not terribly worried. If some of my paste pulls up with this, that's okay, because this is going to get cut. It's going to get folded back. If it has a little bit of a distressed look, I'm not terribly concerned about it. So we're going to do a couple of different colors. Oh, I need to grab my vanilla. Hold on 1 second. Okay. To create this wood design, not really gonna do hot mess necessarily, but I'm going to put the color on and then in some different patterns and pull it through to create some dimension and some just color variation. So we're going to use Dune. We're going to use espresso. I'm not really sure what camera to hold that to. Espresso, so this is a deep coffee brown, and then bark, which is kind of a tree bark color. And we're going to do a paste and peel So I'm going to just do this section first. I need a tray. And then I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with this here. And then I'm going to come over and I'm just going to pop a little bit of Dune in there. I'm not going to take it all the way up to where the espresso was because I don't want to blend the colors completely together just yet. And then I'm going to get some more espresso and run this over. And now I'm going to mix it in with the Dune a little bit. And I'm going to wipe the excess off in my tray here. A little bit on my rag that's in my lap to kind of get the Dune off of there before I put it back in the espresso. I'm going to move some of that across. And then to be sure that this doesn't start to dry on me, we're going to peel that up a little. And then I'm going to get another squeegee and get some bark on here. This bark is kind of thick. I have to spray that a little more. If I was doing this all in one color, I could just, go all the way down and not really worry about mixing anything. But I do want this to have some dimension to it. That's the bark. So then we're going to get a little more Dune. And then again, I'm gonna go off just a little bit, not right up next to the bark, so that I keep my Dune squeegee really clean. And now I'm going to mix those together. Oh, I just, not thinking, I just put the squeegee back in the bark without wiping it off. Fortunately, I don't think I got a lot of Dune in there, if I got any in there at all. Pull this up just a little. I think I pulled a little bit of my white. Can't tell. Right there, if you can see it. Can't tell if I pulled a little bit of the white up or if that is just how the colors blended. That's kind of interesting. And we're going to start here in the center this time with the espresso. So then we're going to maybe start in my corners, kind of rock it back and forth. Hard part is I don't have a hand to hold the surface down with. There we go. So if you're having trouble with getting a transfer up off a surface, you don't want to pull too hard. You're going to run the risk of stretching it out. You want to just kind of rock it back and forth a little bit. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to start with Dune in the center. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to rock this back and forth. Okay, that's looking really cool. I'm really happy with how that's looking. I did not have a true vision in my head here, but I'm very much liking how that looks. And I'm going to pull the transfer up. While that dries, we are going to start on the next part. So the first thing I have to do is cut this piece of cardboard. So I've already measured where this is going to go. So this is going to be our insert. So if you've seen a busted canvas, the canvas is cut and folded open from the inside to reveal something underneath. And there are various ways to do the something underneath. And I am opting to glue a piece of fabric onto this piece of cardboard. And we're going to chalk on it and use a chalkable shape on it. And it's going to ideally pop into that frame. Can't draw straight lines with rulers. So we're going to cut this. I really like this Fiskars rolling cutter. For stuff like this, it works much better than just a regular box cutter. This piece of cardboard came from probably a chalk surface or kit. So they come often wrapped in cellophane around a piece of cardboard. And so I tend to save those. Not all of them, because it gets a little unruly. Don't need all of them, but I try to save various sizes. And today, as I was trying to figure out this project, it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I wanted to use this piece of fabric. I'll show it to you in a second. And I thought, what am I, how am I going to secure it to the frame? Make sure that it's sturdy enough to hold a chocolate shape, all the things. And I remembered that I had this. This is usually cuts better than this. I'm not pushing down hard enough. There we go. So draw lines. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to attach this fabric to the cardboard. Now, the other thing I have to figure out is sort of spacing, because I need, that's a little wider than I thought. That's okay. I need to make sure that when I place these things in such a way that you'll be able to see them. Now, I'll have room to pull the pieces of the canvas, you know, far one way or the other, and I'll be able to tweak it. And I can also, you know, do this in such a way that the pumpkin goes over here a little bit, or, you know, the stem of the pumpkin goes over, you know, part of the lettering. I've got some flexibility there. So what we're going to go ahead and do first is we're going to chalk this Hello Pumpkin on here. I like to leave the backing on my transfers intact so that I just put everything back on the backing sheet. So everything stays together, all the pieces that came with the designs that came as part of one transfer. Also makes it easier for storage. Learned that after quite a while of cutting my backing sheets apart. Now I'm able to just put them all in a plastic bag, either the cellophane package that it came in, or I have other cellophane bags or a Ziploc bag and just label it so I know what transfer it is, but I prefer this way. It took me a while to figure that out. Does make cutting them a little challenging, especially the larger transfers. The B size, the 8.5 by 11, those are pretty easy. But when you start to get up in the C, D, and E size transfers, if you're trying to cut them apart, cutting the backing sheet is a little bit easier there. Now, typically, when you are doing fabric, textiles, you don't need to fuzz. I'm going to do this once or twice just because I don't want when I pull up transfer, I don't want it to lift this fabric up at all because of the glue situation. And then I'm going to figure out, let's see, what do we got here? We're about 12, so this is probably maybe 14. So the middle is going to be right at about 7. Okay. So we're going to have this end right about there. Maybe a little bit higher. I'm going to do the end right about the 6.5 mark. And again, I usually don't measure like that, and I only did because I'm trying to make sure that most of this at least is going to show when I cut the canvas open. Now, if this was something that I was intending to wash, I would be using ink. But since it's not, I'm going to use paste, and I'm going to use this new color that came out with the autumn collection. It's called Vanilla. It's right in between Dune and White. And it's a really nice fall neutral color. So I think it's going to show up really well on this. It's not going to be quite as bright as White, which is what I wanted. I wanted something kind of muted, but a little brighter than Dune. Alright, so I'm doing this all in one color. Can move pretty quickly, so I'm going to get a small squeegee. I know it's funny to think that these are the small squeegees. The other squeegees are the minis. And oftentimes I catch myself saying a large squeegee, and then I'm always like, no, don't say that, because people, you know, if you're new to chalk and you're like looking online and looking for a large squeegee, well, it's not called a large squeegee because it's the small squeegee, and the little bitty ones are mini squeegees. This was the squeegee of the year for 2023. They launch them at leadership in January, and then when designers hit their anniversary date, they get one. And this, but if they have some available still at the end of the year, they'll sell them to designers in 12 packs. So I bought some. My squeegee of the year for my anniversary, I'm going to leave this out because we're going to use vanilla some more, was this orange. This was my squeegee of the year for this year. It's very fun. Put my lid back on that. And we're going to peel that up. Yay! And I'm going to drop that in some water. Alright. Like that. And I want to see, I'm going to set this aside for 1 second because I want to see if our canvas is dry. Yep. Okay, so canvas is dry. So what I'm going to do is, I decided that when I cut this open, I don't want it just the color. I want some design on there. So that is partially what we're going to use this, what is this called? Autumn leaves for. We're going to use this on this inside in vanilla, and then I'm going to flip it over and we're going to put some of this on the front with some different colors. And this is nice because I have lots of different pieces. And I'm not going to put a lot on here, but I'm also going to, this is going to be one of those things where I'll put it down, chalk it, lift it up, and try to get multiple designs out of using it before I decide that it's too much and put it in water, because I don't have to wash things in between. And I think I've got enough little pieces here that I can, and I don't have to go too far. Like, I'm not gonna cover, I'm gonna try to get a little bit in every little panel that I've drawn, although I'm okay with like some overlap there. And I don't want to go all the way up here because you won't necessarily see that much. So I think what we're gonna do on this one, I'm gonna move this while I cut, is we're gonna use these three. And maybe these two. So we're going to definitely make them different than the ones that we're going to use on the front, so that they stand out and you have the contrast. This is one of those instances where cutting the transfer and the backing sheet at the same time would be a lot easier. But I would like to have all these little pieces be able to go back on this backing sheet and just keep it all at one. Let's see, there's a couple of things that I wanted to tell you all, which I will do while I'm cutting here. Just a reminder that enrollment in the Perks member program, for lack of a better word, is still half off. It's half off for another week. So it's $20 to enroll normally. It's $10 for the remainder of August, and you get your $20 credit even with the half price enrollment. So that's still going on for the next couple of weeks. Halloween sales started yesterday, and that runs through September 7th, and that is some returning Halloween surfaces and chocolate shapes. I haven't really looked at everything that's out yet, because I overbuy on Halloween stuff. I know I'll look, I know I'll buy, but I haven't done it yet. And then, two new surfaces came out yesterday. A dimensional, two different sizes, dimensional reindeer. And those are seasonal only while supplies last. And then, I have a couple more live events coming up. I'll tell you guys about those later. So I'm going to do these upside down so that when they fold out, they're sort of right side up. And I'm kind of hoping that chalking on this will get rid of some of my lines. Now, technically, I should probably be waxing on this since I just painted it. And I did paint it this morning, so it has been drying for a while. So I'm hoping that it will be kind to me. Slowly. Oh yeah, that looks good. Okay, then we're going to come over here, and I'm going to put this down here, kind of sideways, different angle. If you move quickly, you can do this 2, 3, sometimes 4, maybe 5, depending on the size of the transfer, how quick you're moving, what your surface is. before you really start to see that, oh, you know, that's not really coming through on my design anymore. Or the design's not going through all the way. And then the hard part is because it's wet, I mean, you can sort of push it down to keep the bubbles, but not as well as if it's dry. So I'm just going to go for 3 and then move on. And again, if this has a bit of a distressed look to it, they have a bit of a distressed look anyway. So if it, you know, doesn't come all the way through, I'm okay with that. Oh, come on. There we go. Going slow so that if I lift quite a bit or completely missed something, I can catch it. Alright, so I'm going to drop that one in my water. Again, this is kind of one of those, like, here's all my moving parts. So I'm going to set it down. I'm going to go ahead and actually cut all of this real quick so that I don't have to keep setting the canvas down and coming back. That way I can just grab the transfers off the sheet. And then when we do the front, we're going to use some of the more traditional leaf looking designs, and we're going to do those in, you know, your traditional fall leaf colors, red, orange, yellow. I don't know if I'm going to do acorns or not. Get the leaves on there and kind of see what I think. I don't know that I want to do acorns only because if I do them in traditional colors, I'm afraid they'll blend too much with the wood pattern. Now I could use Nominee, which is a really pretty metallic gold. And that might make them pop. So that's a thought. But I'm going to do the leaves first and then see what I think about whether or not it needs it. Because some of this is going to end up getting covered up anyway on the front side when you go back and add the or when I cut the canvas and turn it. I'm going to lay those there for right now so that they're out of my way while I cut this other laying them sticky side up so that they don't get stuck to anything. Very grateful for these cut lines. I'm trying to do this, although I don't always manage to do it straight. It at least gives me something to target. Some of the newer transfers that are cut apart transfers don't have the cut lines, and that is a way to try to get more designs on one transfer sheet, which I appreciate. Create some challenges when cutting. You gotta make your own cut lines, so to speak. But you know, you could probably get quite a few more leaves and acorns on this particular transfer. As an example, if you weren't staying within straight lines. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back on here. Don't have to put it on quite perfect at the moment. I really apparently need to clean my desk and my mat because I'm getting bits of dried paste everywhere. Okay, so that's that, and that's probably not the right spot for that, but it doesn't matter right this minute. Okay, so now I can do a little bit more of this in one shot without having to move it to get the transfer. So we're gonna fuzz this. Ah, oh goodness, okay. All right, so we're gonna put one there. Oh, I want to put that a little closer. There we go. And I'm going to wipe this off a little bit. I'm realizing that I'm probably gonna need a box cutter to get this started. Because I'm not sure that my little rolling cutter is gonna punch a hole through this at my center mark. Not there. And put that one there. I'm only going to do this one twice because I also want to leave room for that other design. Oh goodness, I haven't been looking to see. I apologize. I have not been looking at all. Let's see if there's any questions. Okay, I don't see any. My apologies. I can't, what's closest to me in terms of what I can see is my StreamYard feed, but I can't see comments. So if you're watching on YouTube, I can't see those comments on the StreamYard feed. So I got to remember to hop over to my YouTube feed and check. Okay, so we're going to take this one. And I'm going to go out a little farther with this one. So maybe right here. And again, I have a vision in my head for what I hope it looks like. No clue whether or not that's actually gonna be what it looks like. Okay, and then I'm gonna come up here with it. Again, I'm getting a little far over on this, so you might not even actually see this one once we peel the canvas back, or if you do, it might just be like one little bitty edge, but that's okay. The other thing I thought about doing was this transfer has a little berry, a couple of little like grouped berries on it. I thought about using that, which I absolutely could, but I'm also mindful of time. So we're just going to leave it for now, because what I can do is I can like add some external embellishments. What is that? I can add some actual embellishments to this if I wanted to. I can add stickers, or probably have some little berries off of a you know, flower set or something like that that I can add to it if I want. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so that is the inside. And my vision is that when I cut this and then peel it back, you'll be able to sort of see some of that. Be curious to see if at the end of the day I wanted more down here or not. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. I might wax this a little bit because this is very rough right now. And if I try to, my fear is that if I try to paste on it, it's going to pull. So that's going to really stick. So we're going to take this, and because I can go faster with the wax applicator than with just my fingers, I'm going to pull this out. And I'm going to get a good glob of wax. And just spread it all over as much as I can. It's probably a little too much. So this surface wax is great for wood surfaces. It's great for if you're gonna chalk on something that you've painted or chalked on, like if you're layering. Yeah, that's helping some. Okay. You don't need to use it on glass or acrylic. Probably really don't want to, because it's going to leave kind of a film that you'll be able to see. You don't need to use it on chalkable shapes or the couture boutique surfaces, or anything like that. But if you have a surface that you're wanting to chalk on, and you know you feel some really rough spots, wax is advisable. I'm not sure how much it's going to help on this because I'm still feeling some rough spots, but it'll help. It won't hurt. At the end of the day, it's not going to hurt. So if it will help me get the effect I want here, then I'm going to go with it. I'm using quite a bit. Normally I wouldn't use this much because you don't want to run the risk of wax getting into your transfer. But this is a difficult surface to get the wax to spread on, so it's taken a little more than what I would normally use. So you can get this surface wax On the chalk site, it's, I think, I don't remember how much it is a jar. 9 maybe? To be honest, I can't remember if that's retail or if that's my price. But this is my first jar of wax. And I've had it for over a year and I'm still using it. It's held up fine. It's not drying out on me. I've still probably got at least 2, 3, 4 projects worth left. I do have, new jars on hand if I need them. But it does last, so, and it is nice. It is nice to have, in case you're like, you're worried about a particular surface. I'm going to take this and just kind of, normally you kind of let it sit and then buff off excess, which is kind of what I'm doing. I don't really feel like I have much excess, but I'm just trying to pick up any if I do, and kind of spread it around a little bit. These are the chalk wax applicators. I'm still struggling with figuring out my preferred way of applying wax. More often than not, I use my fingers. But that takes longer, so today I didn't necessarily want to do that. Okay, so we are going to use the more traditional leaves. We've got some maple, we've got some oak. Don't ask me which is which. My stepdad would be so disappointed. He was a tree guy. Planted trees on his parents' farm all the time. Knew trees by their bark and their leaves, and so sorry, Jesse. Okay, so I'm going to cut these because I know I'm going to use this maple leaf. And I'll probably use, I'm pretty sure that's an oak of some sort, maybe a pin oak. So I'm going to use that one. I want to use some of the larger ones so that it takes up more space. Now, if I were not necessarily, let's say, worried about time, but trying to be mindful of time, I would be trying to vary the colors, even of the same leaves, which I'm not necessarily going to do today. But I will probably use like maybe all 5 of these. Definitely these 4, just so I can get some different colors. So we're going to do this pin oak first because it's the larger one. And I'm going to keep these as much to the outer edges of the canvas as possible. Wow, if you're still hanging in here with me even on replay, I gotta say thank you. This is a long one. I usually don't get this complicated in my projects. You've seen me do projects before, or heard me talk before, I like simple. Not that there's anything wrong with the complicated projects, they're amazing. But you know what? You also get an idea in your head and you want to go with it. So I'm going with it. Go big or go home. So this is Napa. This was a color of the month sometime last year. I don't remember when. October maybe? September, October, I feel like it was a fall color. I know that November last year was Nominee. December last year was Glacier. So this might have been September or October. It's a nice, rich, I'm sorry y'all can't see it, Merlot kind of color red. So it's a really good fall red. Really good color for leaves. And we're going to do the same thing that we did on the inside, which is to try to get a couple of leaves on here at one time by just picking up the transfer and moving it without having to wash it first. Now, whether or not this cooperates with me, given the canvas and the different colors and the fact that it's a rough surface, etc., we shall see. And I'm not gonna worry about, like, am I gonna make the stem of the leaf the brown that it would normally be. The leaves are just all gonna be one color. Could do a little bit of hot mess on this for a leaf, which would look really pretty. Oh yeah, that's gonna cooperate with me. Yay! Oh, this is exciting. I'm very excited about this. It's fun as a creative, as a crafter. I do like my simple projects. I do like my quick and easy, 15 minutes or less from beginning to finished, and that includes your cleanup. But when you kind of decide to go big with something that is really gonna elevate, kind of up your game a little bit, it's fun. And when it looks the way you want it to look, kind of works out the way you want it to work out, that's really fun. So I'm excited about this. I know I probably don't sound very excited. I don't feel well, kicking in, and as I'm kind of sitting here and doing this, I can feel it a little more. So even if I'm done in time for my 3:30, I might not make it till my 3:30. What time is it? Okay, I might have to hop on and real quick and post a message to let them know that we might have to postpone. I'm so sorry. But all right, so now we're gonna do this one, and I was gonna use cozy on some of these, wasn't I? Ooh, I could do that on the acorns. Yeah, we're gonna have to add some acorns on here, I think. No, let's do it on the leaves. We'll just do it on the leaves. We'll do it on these maple leaves. Okay, so we're gonna go up in this corner. So this is the August color of the month. It's called Cozy. It is a shimmer rust, not really orange. It's darker than an orange. So at one point in time in the chalk collection of colors was a color called Rust, that has since been retired, that I would love to get my hands on because it is a gorgeous color. And my understanding from other designers is that this is very similar, just that it's shimmer. And I love my shimmers. I almost added a couple more shimmers to this too, but I decided just to leave the shimmer for the Cozy, because just to let that one color pop out. And then we're gonna put some, probably saffron, I think, on here. And then either orange peel or Hey Pumpkin. I haven't decided. Probably orange peel, just because Hey Pumpkin, it's orange, but it's more of a yellow orange. And I want it to stand out and be distinctly different than saffron. So. Okay, I'm going to pull this up again really slowly. Oh yeah, very cool. All right, and then we're going to put this one right here. So I will be live again, Craft With Me Friday, next Friday. At the start of the holiday weekend. So, you know, if any of you need to catch me on the replay, that is totally fine. But if you have ideas or suggestions, things you would like to see, you can leave that in the comments. If you follow me on Facebook, you can send me a direct message on Facebook. You can email me, Whitney@girlfridaycrafts.com. Would absolutely love to hear, you know, any thoughts you have on things you would like to see in terms of projects. I know I have a list for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to need to reevaluate that because I've got several different lives coming up, so I've got to figure out what I'm doing for each. I want to make sure I'm not repeating or overlapping too much. Not that there isn't a plethora of things to do, especially this time of year as we're getting ready for fall and Halloween and you know, Thanksgiving and winter and Christmas. You know, if you celebrate Christmas or if you celebrate any of those holidays, try to do some just general seasonal things as well. You know, recognizing that some of the holidays that I celebrate, I might decorate for and create for, not holidays that everybody celebrates. Okay, so we're going to do orange peel. Get some of my smaller ones in here. Go down here with this one. I also want to do some breast cancer awareness projects for October. It's almost what this was. And it was almost going to be in October we wear pink with the pumpkin, but I couldn't find any cute pink fabric. I didn't have any. I'd like to find a pink plaid fabric to do something with. So I'll have to remember that one. Okay, so there's my orange peel. And then we're going to add 2 more leaves in saffron. We are going to move on to the next phase. Okay, let's see, I'm going to use this one. Yep, so I definitely have some room, you know, for some acorns, which I can, even once the canvas is pulled back and glued down, I might still be able to add, depending on, you know, spacing and everything. also love to see what you all are working on. So you can leave that in the comments. Would love to see that, or you can throw that up on my Facebook page. Tomorrow I like to do Show Me Saturdays, and have people, post their projects, and I do Work in Progress Wednesdays. I like to see, what people are working on that's not quite finished. I think it's always fun. We all always have something that's not quite finished yet. Mine is my Halloween coasters that I started Monday on the Crafty Bunch. I will be live again on the Crafty Bunch on Thursday, next Thursday. I'm not quite sure what time yet. I think the event coordinator for that is still lining up our times. It'll be, I think, either 4 or 5 p.m. Central. And then I'll be live in DIY Arts and Crafts Room next Saturday. We're doing a all around the house event, so we'll all be doing different projects for different rooms of the house. I haven't decided what I'm doing there yet. I have a kitchen idea. I have a couple of bathroom ideas. But I also have a living room, dining room, table, Halloween vignette idea, which that one's going to depend on whether or not I can get to Michael's before next Saturday, because I don't believe I have everything I would need for that one. So shopping required for that project, I think. Let's go look to be sure. Okay, so that's finished. Could probably use something right there, but I'm not going to worry about it, because again, you got to remember that this is going to get cut open and folded back. Okay, so we have the designs on the outside. We have designs on the inside. So we are going to next we are going to do our chockable shape. So like I said at the beginning, this came with a I need to reposition myself here. There we go. More support on my back here. This came with a bundle, gift with purchase bundle last month. So you got this little chockable shape and the pumpkin transfer. So we're going to do this. Okay, so I'm mindful of the fact that it's been almost 2 hours, and I need to ask you all to bear with me for 1 second, because I am going way over time here, which means I need to send a message. Maybe. Because I had something at 3:30 that I'm going to be late for. So I am going to have to Okay. I did post a message there. All right, so I'm gonna come back over here. So what I want to do, how do I want to do this? I wanted to paint this guy. And I'm realizing that I put all my paintbrushes up. So I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna chalk him. Nope, I'm gonna do this the way I want to. Okay, so I'm gonna I need to grab some paintbrushes. And I need to spray my paper towels on my woodsy pond plant first. Okay. Couple of paintbrushes. Yep, I'm just going all in on this today. Don't ask. Oh my goodness. It kind of cracks me up. I just don't even know. Okay, so I don't need to do that. I need to make sure I have this turned the right way though. No, okay, it's this way. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so we are going to use the Hey Pumpkin paste, and we're going to paint him, and we're going to do the whole thing in Hey Pumpkin, and I will make this make sense at some point, I think. Again, this is one of those, I have an idea in my head for what this is going to look like, and we will see if that works. These chalkable shapes are really easy to paint. However, you kind of got to get a good grip on it so you can hold it and it doesn't move all around on you. Get the sides. I'm going to end up getting paint all over me, paste all over me, but that's okay. They do dry fast, so just know that. Sorry, I'm realizing I'm working off camera. Don't mean to. So in that, brief moment that I paused to try and pick it up, this started to dry. Go around the sides. Obviously, I'm going to get to a point where I can't do that anymore because I won't have any place to hold on to it. but it doesn't take long for these to dry. And so then you can kind of finish it up. I'm gonna lay this back down. And do the edge there. Plug in my drying tool. You do want to be kind of careful when you dry these that you don't get the drying tool too close or hold it in one spot for too long, because they will kind of start to bubble a little bit. And usually to get them painted well, you probably want to do 2 coats. As you can see, as it's drying, I'm not sure if you can tell, but as it's drying, you know, more of the white is starting to show through. Dry around the edges here. Okay, got that little edge there. And then we're just going to go back over this. And then once I get this second coat on, we are going to let it dry a little bit on its own, because what I'm going to do is go ahead and start to cut the canvas. I'm not going to glue the edges down yet, because I want to get this chalked and on the cardboard, on the fabric board, and get that in place before I pull and glue the edges of the canvas down. But I can let this be drying a little bit on its own while we are doing that part. Can definitely see the value of doing a project like this as a recording, so that I could either split it or edit, like some of this painting and things like that. Live and learn. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry. Get my there. I need to move this out of my way a little bit. Excuse me. I'm going to put in my little toolbox here. am going to need a box cutter. So the first thing I have to do is make sure that these leaves are dry. Ooh. Actually, the first thing I have to do is wipe up this orange paste off my... Okay, that's dry. Make sure my leaves are dry. Let's see, the saffron ones are the ones I did last. Yep, okay. So we're going to turn this over. All right. Ew. Stuff all over my blade there. Interesting. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is, so I drew some lines and I have kind of my center mark. So I'm going to use the blade to poke a hole in the center mark, and then as best I can, I'm going to cut along those lines. Now this is a self-healing mat, so I could sit it flat. But the angle gives me some leverage. I might actually have to stand up. And I'm going to turn the light on so I can see a little better. It's gotten darker in here since I started. So I don't want to cut all the way down. I'm remembering, as I almost did on that one. I'm probably going to end up cutting it more, and I can cut that from the other side with some scissors. I'm just cutting a little bit. You know, the couple of videos that I did watch, they did end up, you know, cutting the canvas more than what they had started, which makes sense. And I don't know if I cut that one down too far or not. This one I'm probably going to have to cut with scissors because I'm not sure I can get any traction because I cut that down too far. Obviously I'm trying to keep my fingers out of this, and that I might have to cut with scissors. I was gonna say I should have a pair of scissors right here. So I'm just going to cut this one just a smidge and get it started. And then oh, that's interesting. I have one spot where what I painted, oh, huh. Okay, so I might have to add some glue because the paint that I did on the canvas, the white paint that I did originally, is separating from what was on the canvas to begin with in a couple of places. So I'm going to go ahead, well, I have it right here, and just put a little bit of glue. I don't really care that the glue is coming out of the sides there because it's going to get glued down anyway, folded and glued. And because I'm folding it and gluing it down, it might end up not being that big of a deal. But if I can get some of this stuck back together. I didn't really think about, oh, that was too much. The wetness, I guess, of the, oh, that was way too much, of the paint, the white paint over whatever design was already on here, sort of separating from that. I didn't think about that. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. So now I have it cut. And I will start to, yeah, see that's, interesting. So I'll have to, wow. Have to see what that's going to do for me or to me here. Cut that back a little more. So, we'll fold it back like that and, and glue it down. I'll use my hot glue gun for that. I might need to use hot glue to adhere some of that back, but okay, so we're gonna set that off to the side for a second. We're gonna finish up with this. Oh goodness. 2 hours, folks. Might end up downloading this and separating it. Into at least 2 videos for folks catching on the replay who are looking at this going, 2 hours? Oh my goodness. Don't blame you. But I am excited that I decided to do this project. I do see this being something I do again, more than once, especially. This is going to be super fun there's just all kinds of holiday things that are coming into my head that I think this is going to be super fun for. Okay. So we're going to put the transfer down, sticky side up, and then we're going to turn the shape. Actually, let me do this too so I can see it a little better. So lining up chalkable shapes with the transfer can be challenging sometimes. I'm gonna stand up. I'm surprised my phone hasn't died. Of course, now I just said that, I probably jinxed it. And it's also hard because I keep touching it with my fingers, and so that's pulling the transfer up. Okay, let me kind of flip it over. Oh, that worked really well, actually. And so I did the whole thing in orange because I'm going to chalk over it to get the lines in moss. So that will give the stem the green that it's supposed to have. Not entirely, but for the most part. And then also get the lines on the pumpkin. We're going to do this. Make sure you get all of the negative space. Sometimes I have to hold it by the transfer to keep it from moving around. Oh, there was something on my transfer that I did not catch. A little something or other on the pumpkin there. I just had an idea. One of these days I'm going to have to try using the ink mat. Put my chalkable shape on the ink mat. And then chalk on it to see if that helps to hold the chalkable shape in place. Because you don't really, the transfer usually covers the whole shape. It's hard to get an edge to hold on to. You don't want to put your finger right in the middle of it, or you're going to end up smudging it or smearing it, getting paste all over your fingers, which I do anyway, but I'd have to try that with ink mat. Alright, so we're going to pull this up a little, try to get a little bit of this edge. There we go. Oh, brought up some of my, oh goodness, it's bringing up some of my orange. Well, that's a big fat bummer. I guess it was probably still too wet. I should have let that dry longer. However, that's going to be easy to fix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait and I'm going to let this dry completely. We can go ahead and put it on the board, and we can go ahead and put it in the canvas. But I have learned that if I try to fix this while it's all still wet, I'm just going to end up smearing everything. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to set this aside, and I'm going to put the board in the canvas. And then I can attach this to that once it's dry and once I've fixed it. I should have plenty of room to do that. Okay. So, oops. I'm going to lay this back down. And we are going to pop that in there. Might have to put another, kind of cut a better fitting piece of cardboard up here at the top. Or, just put something in there at the top. It's not going to fall out, but it's also not necessarily going to adhere flat like it's supposed to. Okay, so now, get my drying tool out of the way. We're going to heat up my glue gun. This is definitely one of those moments where I wish I would have already purchased my heat gun that's been sitting in my Amazon for later list for a while now. Just a better quality glue gun. This one's not bad, but it's not great either. So I worry for something like this if it's gonna be what I want it to, hold as well as I need and want it to hold. I'm trying to fix some of these edges here, at least. Cut this canvas. Oh yeah, that's gonna show nicely. And on this one, I am having to kind of go almost all the way out to the edges. Well, that didn't cut everything. That just cut the part I painted. Just so it will fold enough to do what I want it to do. So we're just going to get a couple of these edges glued down so you can see what that looks like, kind of how that works. And then I will let myself go for the day. I will let you all go for the day. And I will finish this up over the weekend, especially since I need to fix that pumpkin. A little bit of glue here. So this is also probably one of the advantages to using scrapbook paper and Mod Podge as opposed to painting the canvas, so that it doesn't separate. You know, that paint doesn't separate. Let's see if I've got one hard enough yet. Okay, bring this over. Oh, actually, I'll just leave it right there. Okay, so I'm going to take this one, start at the top here, and we're going to fold this down. And I'm going to put the glue on this, and then push it down onto the canvas. Maybe. Yeah, see, one, I don't think this glue's hot enough yet, and two, this is not the highest quality glue gun. Okay, so we're going to try and take the glue farther down and maybe try to bend it in a little more. It's probably all about placement and how much pressure is pulling against the glue. That might be okay. So we're going to take this one and we're going to do the same thing. And I'm going to get the glue like all the way on the edge there. And we're going to fold it under as much as possible. And then I'm going to reach underneath the canvas and push the pieces together so that I've got some pressure. Obviously, the hotter the glue, the better. We're going to use this here. Seal that back. Okay. And then we're going to glue right there. And then I'm going to fold this under there. Reach underneath that canvas and hold it. I'm going to do one more piece because then you'll be able to see almost all of the writing. Okay. And then we're going to take this one and come down here. Oh, that didn't work. Shoot. Fold this. Ah. Now that one's holding, I think. Nope, it's about to pull up, I can tell. Alright. Well, I definitely think my glue gun is a problem. It probably not getting hot enough. Not getting my glue hot enough. I'm also wondering, you know, if the paint layer has anything to do with it. Yeah, that's pulling up. I can tell already. Okay, try this again. Of course, now glue on top of glue. And maybe I need to glue more, right? Which means that I may not be gluing enough of the bend. Try to glue this down a little bit more. Last little bit, and then I'm gonna be done. And then I'm gonna talk to Tarina and Michelle about what maybe I need to do differently. It might be time to buy the better glue gun. Thinking that's a big part of the problem. Okay, so essentially though, you see the point, right? So when these fold back the way they're supposed to, you'll be able to see that Hello Pumpkin, and when these fold down, you'll be able to see the chalkable shape, and I'll get that fixed, and I'll figure out what I need to do about the glue situation. It does seem that gluing more of it seems to be helping. It is peeling up a little bit, but not as much as it was before. But I don't think a better quality glue gun is going to hurt any. Okay, so I now know how to do a busted canvas. And if you've never done a busted canvas before, you maybe now know a little bit about how to do it too. So I know this was a very long, very long video. I appreciate you watching any part of it. If you are catching it on the replay, you are probably going to see it posted in multiple parts to make it a little bit easier for people to watch. And I might actually download it and trim it down a little bit because there's a lot of painting and stuff that y'all don't necessarily need to see. You get the point, right? Okay, so thank you for watching. I'm always appreciative of people watching my videos. If you have project ideas or things you'd like to see me do, leave it in the comments. Email me, Whitney@girlfridaycrafts.com. Send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, anything like that. Would love feedback, would love to hear more about what you all would like to see. So I hope you have a great weekend, and I will talk to y'all soon.